Rishus Rosh Yeshiva, L'Rav Rabbosai. If I thank or respond to Rabbi Ram, I won't make it through the speech. I'd like just a show of hands. This is the 26th convention. How many people in this room were at the first one? No. First convention of AJOP, 26 years ago. Three people.
And Rashiva.
Rashiva, of course. If I were to tell you what it was 26 years ago, but it's almost irrelevant. What is relevant is, it doesn't look like a closing door to me. One of the comments of one of our senior Yedidim in looking at the crowd says, well, what a young crowd. It speaks to the power, the potential. It speaks to our tomorrow. But yes, for us, the door is closing today. Because we grieve the Petira of Dovid Winiarz. Shalom Melech tells us that you define a person, the ish lefi mahalalo. And the two pshatim of what the ish lefi mahalalo means. One is lefi mahalalo, what he praises, what he values. And the ish lefi mahalalo, of how people praise him. And I would like to suggest that the life of R Dovid Winiarz, Zichron Livracha, was the kind of a life that, well, anyone who was in touch with him or communicated with him over these many years appreciated his boundless love of everything that wasn't his. How he celebrated the achievements of others. He was a person who wasn't afraid of failure. He was a person who praised achievement. He was always the first call after a convention of 20, 30, 40 ideas. One of the projects which I was involved with in terms of a traveling exhibition of the Holocaust, he tried for years and failed to get this particular program in his area. He was the first one who jumped in to say, I want to create a Talmud Torah. Not for his children, but now we have the responsibility to his children. Ish lefi mahalalo, not only what he praised and his achievements, but this is the moment for us to remember how we spoke of him when he was alive and how we admire him now at this time of his Yeshias Neshama. So in a way, my friends, these thoughts that I'd like to say are in a way dedicated to him, because I think this is the kind of a message that R Dovid would have liked to have heard. And if we want to do something in his memory, as many of you have suggested to me over these past couple of days, if you want to do what he would do, then do something. Anything. Not just the normal activities of the day. Don't become rote automatons, even in the world of Kiruv. Be creative. Be passionate. Be open. We can, in that way, nurture and sustain a legacy. I was once speaking to a donor. Unfortunately, I ain't got no accent, and I also don't have 50,000-pound donors that I will discuss. I was once speaking to a donor many, many years ago. Actually, it was about probably 30, 35 years ago. And he was a big belt stalker. And this was before computers. And he had a file cabinet box of index cards. And the box literally was this large. And in that box, and on every index card, was another institution. And the person would come to this world-renowned philanthropist, and they would ask for a contribution, and he would give everyone what he could. And somebody complained. They said, you know, I really need more money from you. So he said, listen, look at this box. And look at all these contributions that I have to give. The pie is only so large. What should I do? And this gentleman said, bake a bigger pie. My suggestion this afternoon is quite simple. We have to bake a bigger pie. The power of this moment of AJOP is not in heralding everybody's individual achievements, but hearing how someone else is being successful and how you can steal it. Broaden your pie. Because Klal Yisrael today, as we heard before so beautifully from a number of the presenters, it's not a chad pami, it's not one moment. It's not this flash in the pan. Unfortunately, Rabbi Edelstein is not giving one of his outstanding presentations because he would talk about the process, the years and years and years of the process of tshuva. If that's the case, how could we ever be successful on campuses when we're only there for a couple of years? There's something called transition. There's something called handoff. Without handoff, forget it. We failed. Yes, the door will close. The door will close with thousands of individuals waiting for us to return from an AJOP convention and say, you know, I could try this. We have someone here, for example, Rabbi Rutenberg from Emet. Emet with Rabbi Rutenberg and Rabbi Kraft, service to Bukharan community. And they started off just like so many other Kiruv programs. They started with campus students, then they started with young professionals, and very, very successful. And then they had this issue, and then they had this program and that program. All of a sudden, they wake up and they realize they have hundreds of married graduates that still need hadracha. They broadened the pie. And this past Shabbos, two Shabbatos ago, 130 couples, Balei Tshuva, spent the Shabbos together through Emet. Broaden the pie. You can't broaden it yourself, pass it on. We have someone here for this convention, a woman who herself is a Balas Tshuva through the process of NCSY decades ago. And she realized in this great transformation where now she's a grandmother. And she has one of the great Torah homes of the community. And great nachas. But she knows of her responsibility because she lived it, and she says, you know, I have to broaden the pie of Klal Yisrael. And there's a need to nurture a connection between the families who are not observant and the students and children who are. Not only because it's healthier, but because it's right. And for 30 years, we've been meeting at AJOP and we've never developed such a program. And we thank Sharon Gross and we welcome her as we begin to initiate the program called J-Bridges, Jewish Bridges. And we'll use all technology, we'll use everything, but it's the passion of this creation. You can stay on some drawing board unless everybody else is willing to broaden the pie. Unless people are willing to go over to her or to contact her and say, you know, I have a few people, and I have a few people, and I have a few people, or those families will stay at the door, and it will close. We hear about the Shabbos project. Beautiful project. There was a young lady in New York who became observant through one of the campus programs of Ma'ar, Rabbi Eisenman, who's on campus. She spent time in Israel. She's not your full, great Shomeres Torah and Mitzvos person, perhaps, but she's driven by the passion of trying to inspire people to become closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu her way. So she created something called Shabbat Social. I heard of this Shabbat Social, and it's everything that I'm opposed to. It's a bunch of upscale, spoiled, rich, disinterested, young Jews who want to get together and party and drink. And they call it Shabbat Social. In fact, sometimes they get together during the week and they call it Shabbat Social. And sometimes it doesn't make a difference, Shabbat Social. And sometimes they get together on Friday night and it has to be kosher. But I tried to broaden the pie, and I made one call, another call. I called Jackie Engel, I called a couple of other people, and before you know it, we've been in communication with this young lady. And we're starting to fund the program of ambassadors of Shabbat Social. You know what they're going to do? The ambassadors are each going to host Shabbos for X number of people. And I told her, I said, that's a great idea. I think we're all in favor of it, and I'll try to get some funding for it. But in order to be an ambassador, you have to know about Shabbat. So I turned to Rabbi Cassell and I turned to Rabbi Deutsch. I said, listen, let's run a 10-week program for these ambassadors to teach them all about Shabbat and give them a trip to Israel. They think it's Shabbat Social. We call it Olami. And all of a sudden you have these motivated, dynamic, young professionals and those who are interested. They're going to come back and inspire people that we could never have reached. Broaden the pie. Broaden the pie. We all lament day schools. Wish we could get more people into yeshivas. Aside from the tuition issues, we have a gentleman here, so motivated, such Mesiras Nefesh. He's knocking on doors of people in the community to try to encourage their parents to send them to Jewish day school. He's open to any suggestions. Have you met him? I gave him one. We have someone here, Rav Dovid Shenker, one of the great tzaddikim of our Kiruv movement, Camp Nagila. There's probably no greater way to get someone to attend yeshiva day school than send them to Camp Nagila for the summer. That's it. You don't have to knock on doors. Broaden the pie. Have you spoken to David Schenker to perhaps create another branch somewhere else? I was involved in starting the after-school charter school in Florida. The Limud Torah part of it. We had at some point, I believe, 20-something children that came from Florida to these Camp Nagila, and of that a significant number transferred to yeshiva. Broaden the pie, think differently. You don't have to recreate it, it's in this room. The brilliance of what Lori Palatnik has achieved. This year, 2,000 women from all over the world. Have we tapped into it? Not have we sent people and therefore them coming back. Have we tapped into it? Have we really nurtured it? Have we spoken to others to see how we could be more impactful in our moments of kiruv? Broaden the pie. Speak to one another. There's a school in Plainview, Long Island. Hebrew Academy of Nassau County. It's the last day school for about 250,000 Jews. The last part of Nassau and all of Suffolk County. This is the last frontier, the last place. They have about 100 and something kids in the school. The building can hold 400. I met with them, and in discussions with them, it became clear that if you keep trying the same thing over and over again, it's not going to work. If I could digress for 1 second, just to give you an example. I mean, I would love to speak of all the failures that I've had, because that really is, it speaks to, you keep trying until it works. We've created this online platform, Project Sinai, this live interactive platform that, Baruch Hashem, thousands of people are involved in live interactive study of Torah through different organizations online each and every month. And we have a Talmud Torah online. And we tried every single way to get students to Talmud Torah. We turned to every kiruv organization. We said, you know what, you collect the money and you keep it and we'll just take care of the kids. And in years past, we got 20, 25 students. Great students, tremendous hatzlacha. But couldn't get more. Then we said, okay, let's do it for free. We tried it a year for free. Didn't get more. So I decided we're going to shut down. There's no interest. And then I met this fellow, a friend of mine, who sells Twitter accounts. Now, I don't know anything about Twitter. I don't have a Facebook account. And this fellow's telling me, listen, you go on Twitter, and I work through Twitter, and I'm telling you, you know, we can get more people to totally online Sunday morning from 9 to 11 in the morning to study Torah. I said, how could you possibly do that? He says, listen, pay me X amount, and we'll see. So I hired this fellow last February. And I said, okay, you got 6 months, because I tried everything, nothing worked. I tried ads, I tried this. So many of you were so helpful. I was talking to Rabbi Gewirtz, another incredible powerhouse of a dynamo. Broaden your pie, speak to him, partners, every single one of every organization. He's there. You don't have manpower, no problem. He's got the manpower. So Rabbi Winiarz, reflecting on my failure, says, I remember we sent out your thing to all of our people, 6,000 names, and nobody registered. And Lori Palatnik sent it out to all of hers. I said, that's the perfect group. I think I got 2 non-Jewish families, as I recall. So I told this fellow, okay, I'll give you, it was $250 a month, 6 months. And I called him in August, because I don't know anything about anything. And I said, I hate to put the pressure on. I don't know what you're doing, and I don't know who you're communicating with, and I don't know all this, but, next month we're starting. He said, oh, when are you starting? I told him when. And he said, okay, just send me the information. I said, it's only a few weeks away, We have over 60 now. I don't know how we got them. But I knew enough that I didn't know. And therefore, I turned to someone else who perhaps does know. Broaden the pie. Let's go back to Hank. Hank tried everything. They have a recruiter. They have this. They have scholarship money. They have every possibility. And I'm having a discussion with them. Actually, the discussion began a number of years ago when some of you around the table, we said, Plainview or that area, maybe that's a place where we should do a saturation program. We should have Camp Nagila involved there. We have JEP Long Island involved. We should have partners involved. We should have different NCSY involved. All focused to the focused mission in that area. Maybe no one's tried that yet. It's a good idea. Try it. Broaden the pie in your community. And in the course of the conversation, I hear that Hank of Long Island is the local partner of PJ Library. Now, PJ Library is a program funded by the Grinspoon Foundation that they send every single month 1 free Jewish book to every Jewish house. It's a separate discussion. And they look for a local partner who pays the shipping. And it turns out that Hank has 175 names of non-day school kids from ages 4 to 8 or 9, Jewish, in their catchment area. They have the names, and they're communicating with them every single month. And they haven't gotten 1 student because they weren't broadening the pie. Working in concert with Rabbis Turk and Portnoy of Heritage of Queens and Long Island, we have set up, I believe it was the first Kiruv outreach program in a day school. So we took a little bit of the day school, a little bit of creativity of program, a little bit of the Jewish outreach program. We run big programs, the mommy and me's and everything else, all tied together in the hope that we'll be able to increase the education of this particular institution. The story is less relevant than developing the mission. And the mission, Rabbosai, is that we have incredible power and potential in this room. Tremendous creativity, incredible success. But I assure you, as I assure myself, that if I don't grow beyond my success, I will fail. That is the magic, the mystical magic and power of AJOP. We have the chance, as Rashiva mentioned, it shouldn't only be once a year. We have the chance to nurture one another, to motivate one another, to inspire one another. And in so doing, we will once again reflect on the life mission of R Dovid Winiarz of Willowbrook, always looking beyond himself, always growing and nurturing, in embracing the achievements of others. And the ultimate beneficiaries will be a robust, powerful, all-embracing, beloved Klal Yisrael. Yeah.